Hello and welcome to Bull and Specs. I'm Adrian. I'm in Kent, gateway to the south, or gateway, well, you could go in either direction, on the doorstep of London. Anyway, waiting in the wings in the Midlands. You're technically still you're on the fringes, aren't you, really? Which is strange for someone with no fringe.
I was going to say that's the only time anyone ever mentions a fringe in relation to me. Yeah, I'm East Midlands more than... But Midlands, nonetheless. I don't know whether I'm East Midlands anymore now. I don't know where I am, to be honest with you.
East is east and west is west.
I just love the fact that Kent is quite obviously just a big gateway, really, to wherever you want to go.
Yeah, the only thing you should do with Kent is pass through it.
I mean, even if you want to go east, you can just jump in the sea and swim, can't you? I suppose. So it's a gateway there as well, really. But,
it's a big paddling pool en route to France. I don't know what French for en route is. Anyway, I haven't named you, thank you. Nick that off Gordon Kay, but that's another story entirely. Don't make me name drop about the people I've worked with.
Darling.
I haven't name dropped your dropping name. Shane O'Connor is the other voice and face, indeed, if you're watching on YouTube. What kind of week have you had, Shane?
Not a bad one.
Don't say 7 days.
No, it's been all right, actually. It's been not too bad. My big bit of news this week, I went to the dentist this week. And,
is that news?
Well, it was for me, really, because I think I've discovered something that nobody else knows about, and that is that...
An extra tooth?
No, I did have an extra tooth once, in the roof of my mouth.
Oh, you weirdo.
I had to have an operation to have it taken out, and it was horrible. I had it done by a dental student.
Oh, no. You're not meant to know their students, are you?
I wouldn't have thought so. I remember thinking at the time, at least... pretend that you've got a bit.
At least cover it up.
It's like going into a garage, isn't it? You go into a garage, you take your car into a garage, and you go, Brian will work on it. And you go, he won't start, Brian. You go, it's my first day. I've really got a clue what it is. I've got a big hammer in my toolbox, though. We'll get it sorted. But yeah, no, I had to have that done years ago. It was terrible. And put me off dentist for a long time. But I got a lovely dentist. She's really nice. And she used to own the practice. And she's just been taken over. Well, she's just been bought out by Bupa. Did you know Bupa are going into dentistry now?
No. So they're aggressively buying up dental surgeries.
They bought something called Oasis Dentistry, which I think, and this isn't just private. This is NHS as well.
Do they provide cigarettes and alcohol?
I think it's a different Oasis. To be honest with you, you see, that's the difference in our rock and roll lifestyles, isn't it? Because you think of the Gallagher brothers when somebody mentions Oasis. I think of that sponge-like stuff that florists put their flowers in.
I thought you were going to say Midnight at the Oasis, but then I'm older than you. That's an older pop song.
Yeah, I've never heard of.
Although my favourite is, we could go right down a possible rabbit hole here, but an enjoyable rabbit hole. I love tribute band names and. You know the one for the main one for Oasis. I'm sure there's loads of them, but
no, go on.
No Way Sis, which is they're not even trying, but it's just silly and quirky.
Yeah, I remember the U2 tribute band was called Us as Well, I think, but that was a bit. It was a bit too broad.
It makes sense in context, but
yeah. You kind of have to know that it's U2 in order for it to work, haven't you? Kind of thing.
Yeah, so it's not going to draw in a new audience, is it? Exactly.
No. I think, do you want to go and see Us as Well? Not sure how that one works. But yeah,
I quite liked. Sorry, no, finish your hand.
No, sorry, I was going to go on. You quite like what?
Steely Dan tribute band called Nearly Dan. It's quite nice.
Oh, yeah, that's good. That's good. I like that one. You then go on to I saw a hairdressers called Curl Up and Die and stuff like that, don't you? Then after that, I suppose. So.
I will be careful. Yeah.
There's a slippery slope to get down, isn't it? Really. Anyway, let me just quickly tell you about dentistry and about Bupa and about what they're doing. And I think they're coming out of care homes now, aren't they? Bupa. I think they're not
pulling
really
out of them.
Yeah, I don't think they're really interested in that sector of the market, and they've decided they want to go into dentistry now. And I was really worried because I really like Maida. She's really good and I really like it, and all the rest of it. But the really curious thing is, and because we do a show and tell, don't we, normally in this section, we normally kind of bring something to show whatever. And this is mine. And
you were You were teasing me, nay, goading me before we started recording with that, and kept pretending that you didn't know where it was.
Did you hear it again? Did you hear it? What was it? Hey, what? Oh, what was that? It's like having a Labrador as a partner in your podcast. Quick, where'd you go? Where'd you go? Where'd you go? Did you see it? No, all it was, I was in two minds as to tell you why I'd gone to the dentist actually, because I've got it's a tooth whitening kit.
Oh, so I thought that was dentures rattling around inside.
Well, it is, isn't it? Really, I suppose they're like moulds of my teeth. I think if I can put these, I'll put that here.
Oh, lummy.
They're like a. You know what I mean?
Oh,
and you put the stuff in the tray like that, and you just wear them overnight. They're ever so attractive.
yeah. I bet your wife is pleased.
And I've done it before, and it just like kind of lifts them a bit. But I thought, oh, is that a really vain thing to do, to say that I whiten my teeth? But I mean, I'm not talking Simon Cowell torch in your mouth, you know what I mean? Not that kind of whitening sort of thing. But
yeah.
Anyway, talking amongst yourselves, we'll try and get this out now because it's not easy to get out.
Well, in answer to your question, yes, it's very vain. But then I did go through a period a few years ago of having Christendom's most stained teeth. Not kidding you, it was so serious. My dentist was talking about getting me admitted to hospital.
Really?
To sort the
To
stain.
de-stain
Yeah,
them?
that's how bad it was. Yeah.
What were they going to do? Shot blast them?
Sandblast.
Are you?
Anyway,
Obviously,
it was
you
all
got nice
traced
teeth. So what did
well,
they do?
you're
How
very
did they do
kind.
that?
Eventually, no, we traced it to a certain brand. I'm not allowed to mention the brand because then they'd have a right to reply and they'd say, "Oh no, it wasn't us." But a certain lethal, in my view, a brand of mouthwash. But as it turns out, my dentist has stopped recommending mouthwash.
Yeah, mine does.
It's probably gone throughout the profession now, hasn't it? We don't want to worry people, but there are concerns that the alcohol can possibly increase cancer risk.
I used to work with a woman who was an alcoholic, and she used to drink mouthwash.
Really?
Yeah, it's really quite sad because it had alcohol content in it, and because your mouth, you only ever then stink of.
Oh, and it doesn't give it away.
Yeah, you don't stink of vodka, you stink of mint or whatever, don't you know? So it's sad, isn't it? Really. Anyway, look at the time I've taken up. Come on, sorry. What about you? Because you've got a really exciting prop, haven't you? From what I can gather.
Well, it depends what excitement is. Actually, call back to last week. I've got one slightly shop-soiled second-hand gas mask to get rid of.
How did the party go, by the way? It was another of your cocktail parties. Was it all right?
Yeah.
Did you?
It wasn't a cocktail party.
Whatever.
But it was very enjoyable. People need to just spool back to the previous edition of Bull and Specs to either hear or see the gas mask. It was gas. It went down rather well. And
did you wear it? Like, you didn't wear it all night, did you?
No. Yeah, I thought I'd go in disguise.
The Elephant Man.
They didn't work out it was me until I got this taxi at the end.
Yeah,
Elephant Man. No, the hostess with the mostess wore the gas mask. That was one of the more surreal moments. It does sound like a Ronnie Corbett anecdote, doesn't it?
It sounds like you were very popular at the party, actually. If everybody's trying to try your outfit on, that usually means you're quite a hit, doesn't it, really?
You do get noticed. Yeah, great conversation starter. Bit like wearing this, and for our listeners on Spritcher, what is it? Stretcher?
On a stretcher. For anyone listening on a stretcher.
Spreacher.
I thought you got a snake around your neck, Ben. It looks like a python.
I am
from a
wearing...
distance.
Funny you just mention that. It has actually got elephants on it, which is not quite pythons, but they've got trunks which look like snakes. Looking for a connection.
Yes.
Anyway, look at the muck in here. I am wearing a rather colourful scarf that will get you admitted to any number of cocktail parties that I never go to. Fun enough, but Shane is convinced I live. Are you yawning or just? Or have you got whitening on your teeth? You're trying to get rid of.
Do you know, I have to say, you made me move my microphone. And if you notice, my microphone is the other way around from what it was last week and some of the other podcasts, so that he can actually see me now and he can see.
Because I'm looking on a different camera, we should explain.
Yeah, and I thought I would got away with that one. I thought it was behind the mic, but...
You would say if I was boring you. No, you don't need to. Anyway, so ask me where this scarf comes from.
Where that scarf
I'm
come
wearing
from?
it. Well, that's irrelevant. No, it's from India. But why am I wearing it? Because it's worn by a drama commissioner by the name of Tobias L. Watt. And to fast forward, to cut to the chase, here's the subject of my latest other rival no, it's not a rival podcast, because you can enjoy Bull and Specs and my solo project, which is the London Podcast. That's londonpodcast.net, if you're interested, and I hope you are. Anyway, so I've done this. It's a spoofumentary, if you will.
Oh, awesome. I like those.
He's a fictitious... oh, you're very kind. Checks in the post. But anyway, it's played by Russell Thomas, who's done a lot of stuff with me on the podcast. He is an hilarious dude. And yes, he did me proud, as did the lovely Sarah Kempton and Keith Dunphy, two other actors I've worked with before. They are brilliant and fantastic at ad-libbing. I kid myself, I write a script and I've got a shape of this character and what's going to happen. Yeah. And then they rip it up. And they really do rip it up. They make it much funnier. So, yeah, great people to work with.
Love it. That's out now, is it? Or will be by the time this goes to press?
Yes, indeed. Well, it went up this very day. So the episode is called The Drama Commissioner, Tobias L. Watt.
And
can't argue with the title.
Don't forget, if you do listen very carefully for the scarf.
Yeah, well, you'll see his picture anyway, if indeed you get the accompanying pictures of Russ as Tobias.
Oh, for goodness sake. Look, I'll put the link up when we do the video, for goodness sake.
Did I promote it enough?
I think so.
So, in we saunter to the first of two topics. We've done our own personal news and had a general meander and natter. Now let's look at a couple of big stories that have got tongues wagging, maybe your own, in the past few days. You've seen this Deliveroo thing, a payment from on high to Deliveroo staff. Oh, whoops, the guys and gals who cycle around actually doing the delivering of the Deliveroo are not classed as staff, certainly not at the moment. Although I think there is a court case pending, isn't there? But, yeah, so that means they don't qualify for said bonus. That's a bit of a rum deal, isn't it?
I don't have a problem with it. Again, this is a bit like the Uber situation, isn't it? Where I don't understand why people who are freelance want to be employed. I don't get that at all. There seems to be a lot of this in this country. It's called having your cake and eat it. I think they want to sort of say, well, I'll work when I want to work, but I don't want to be classed as freelance or self-employed. I want to actually be employed. Well, you can't have it both ways, can you? Do you know what I mean? And I was talking to somebody that I know that works at ITV, and they said, I don't understand why. They used to have a lot of parties and events and stuff like that. This person was a freelance for ITV. And they used to say, we're having this party, whatever, and staff only, freelancers not invited, because one of the things, they had so many freelancers, they knew that the buffet had gone.
Sandwiches would go.
There'd be nothing left.
Yeah, well, I've got an answer to that. Make more flipping sandwiches.
But it's not that relationship, is it? This is what I don't understand, is why people want it to be that kind of. Can I make a quick? Actually, can I make a quick confession as well? And I don't know whether you have. I've never used Deliveroo. In fact, I had to look them up to find out what they did.
I haven't used them either, but they're a sort of they'll deliver from a variety of sources, won't they? They're not tied to any one supplier, as it were.
As I understand it, I mean, if you've got a restaurant or you're a fast food outlet and you do take away food, you hire them, do you, to deliver your food? Is that how it works?
It's the blind leading the blind, isn't it? I haven't used them either. Was it stipulated in the menu for this show, forgive the pun, that we should actually sample the wares of the news story we're going to talk about?
I'm not even sure that I could be Deliverooed, if that's a verb.
You are very Deliverooed to me sometimes.
I was Deliverooed to you as you are to me. Do you know what I mean? I'm not sure because you see, this is the thing where
Don't tell me you're in the rural outback.
Well, I'm just, anywhere north of Watford, mate. We're lucky if we've got electricity most of the time, us lot. You don't know, you're born, you lot down in Kent and the home counties and all that. But yeah, so I don't know, because as things get more disparate, then services get more sporadic, don't they, I suppose? I never thought I'd get disparate and sporadic into the same sentence.
I was just thinking how very well they're sont mots qui très bien ensemble.
Yeah.
I've forgotten one of the words. Which Beatles song was I trying to quote from?
Michelle, wasn't it?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
Michelle abandoned me.
Yeah. Was that the one you dreamt? Let's not go into that. It was another podcast.
No, that was scrambled eggs, which was yesterday. Oh, don't change the topic. Anyway.
But these people are as I understand it, they're self-employed.
Okay, you've been
aren't they?
holding court for a couple of minutes now, I think. So may I have my two penneth?
Yeah, my food's arrived anyway, so you carry on.
Your Deliveroo has arrived. And lo, it was delivered unto you. Now, if you stand back a bit, wider picture, and this applies to the ITV parties, we're almost back to Ronnie Corbett, except he didn't work on ITV. And it also applies, I think, to Deliveroo. What's going on here? Well, they've obviously got a bit of extra money sloshing around. They're profitable. Good news. That's how capitalism works. Greases the wheel and all of that. Well, who has helped that? Who has been part of the, forgive the Marxist terminology, the means of production? I'm probably misusing that, actually, thinking about it. But the point is, who has created the wealth? Well, part of the answer, loads of people, Ted in the office and Nora who does the accounts and all of that. What about these poor people on the bikes who are, risking life and limb, particularly in London traffic? Gosh, that's not particularly funny. And they're actually literally delivering the goods. Without them, you've got no business model, have you? So how terrible would it be? It's apparently a 10 million share pot. Well, share it a bit more widely, I'd say. Maybe a bit more thinly, but a bit more widely as well. And the ITV thing, well, who made the show? It's an arbitrary distinction. Who are you going to give your curly crest sandwiches to? Well, they all made the show. I've made shows for the Beeb or been part of the process. And the bigger the show, of course, the smaller cog you are in the wheel. But I've done it as a freelance and I've done it as staff. And to the Beeb's credit, I don't think they've ever distinguished between the two, nor could they. They'd have to have someone on the door. That would get a bit silly. Maybe you're talking about posher parties, I don't know, where people hire venues and so on. But the point is, they've all helped make the show, haven't they? From I won't even use the term from the lowest to the highest, because that's arbitrary too. If you don't have makeup, your person doesn't look $1 million. Ditto lighting director or the sparks on the floor, the electricians who actually bash with the poles and plug the things in. You need everyone.
So what you're saying is you don't have freelancers then? Is that everyone's got to be a staff member if you work for somebody?
No, I wasn't saying that at all. I'm saying don't have these arbitrary distinctions.
Well, they're not arbitrary, are they? I mean, if you said to the Inland Revenue, is it an arbitrary distinction? They would say, I don't think so, and we've got court cases to prove that it's not an arbitrary distinction. Being freelance or employed is far from arbitrary, isn't it? Really, it's not. It is a defined distinction.
Oh, yeah. You're talking HMRC, or as it would be known in the States, IRS. All these initials, Inland Revenue, the tax people, essentially. But I'm talking about, it's arbitrary when it comes to the viewer. I mean, did you ever, well, perhaps you did, because we're not typical viewers or listeners, but, quote, the average viewer doesn't turn to their wife, partner, common law, dog, or whomever, and say, I wonder if that show, I mean, say Gogglebox, they've really enjoyed it and laughed along with it. And whoever's with them, they haven't turned to them and said, I wonder what percentage of the workforce who made that show were freelance and what percentage were staff. You receive it as a show, don't you? As a pre-packaged, almost like a ready meal on wheels from Deliveroo. It arrives to you and you don't care, just as you don't care if your vegetable samosas were made by a freelance chef or someone who's on the staff at the restaurant.
Oh, but
That's the arbitrary bit.
But here's the thing: they would care if the cost to them was increased. Now, and I'm not saying this is the case with Deliveroo, but let's just say they said, okay, well, actually, we're going to employ the people. So there's now an employment cost to those people. So we're going to have to pay their national insurance. We'll have to pay their sick pay and holiday pay. And we'll have to pay, all the other bits and pieces, the ancillary stuff. We might have to buy them a uniform and things like that. So I'm sorry, mate, but it's another tenner on your meal. Now, do you care whether they're freelance or and to be honest, and that's what it comes down to, isn't it? And with the ITV example, I mean, that's all about flexibility of working. So they can say, well, okay, we need you today, we don't need you tomorrow. But that's the deal, isn't it? It's no good going into a deal and saying, do you agree this? Yes, or yes, I agree this, and then all of a sudden they go, oh no, I don't like it anymore. Now I'm in. I want to be something else, and that's where I don't get it, kind of thing. Now I don't know whether it's the case, but I do wonder whether if they paid a bonus to all the people that they had on their books, i.e. all the freelancers as well, whether somebody like the Inland Revenue would turn around and say, actually, you're treating them like employees now, and so therefore you're going to have to put them on the books and you've got to pay their national insurance. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, but there are ways around it.
There are many ways around it, to be honest with you.
Well, there are. You just pay them a higher hourly rate.
Yeah, and then the price goes up to people, and then they're not competitive in the market, and the business goes bump.
They've got a 10 million share pot. They're obviously not on their uppers.
No, because the business model is working, isn't it? But if you then start saying, okay, actually the costs have gone up now, so we've now got to pass those on to our customers.
Well, there is a choice. Not every cost is passed on. Loads of people take the hit, don't they? Loads of companies.
Well, fewer than you'd think, I would have thought, to be honest with you.
You don't know how many I'm thinking of. Look at me and tell me how many you think I'm thinking
6.
of. You're wrong. No, it was 3. See? 50% out.
I always double it. I always double it. I was thinking of 3 already, and then I panicked, and I just thought it's not high enough. I've got to double it. I always double it. Why do I always double it? I don't know why. Yeah, I think the bottom line is we've got to try to Deliveroo, haven't we? And figure out. Do you know? This is the thing. I don't even know if you'd know if I ordered something now and had it delivered. Would I know that it was them that was delivering it? I mean, are they logoed up or anything?
Oh, they're well logoed up, yeah.
Are they?
I refer the Honourable Gentleman to probably you're looking at the same news story as me, but perhaps you haven't scrolled up to the photo. They're very distinctive, light turquoisey blue uniform, and they've got these big square boxes on their back, obviously with the grub in.
Turquoisey blue? I'd have said sunset teal, to be honest with you. But yeah.
Now that really is arbitrary.
We've done the whole thing and you haven't mentioned the founder's name.
I was going to leave it to you.
I only wanted you to mention it because it occurred to me. His name's. Do you want to do it?
No, after you, sir.
His name's Will Shue. And I'm
not laughing.
No, but I just imagine him answering the phone and he'd go, Shue, Deliveroo.
Yeah, you got me there. You made me laugh.
You're listening to the Bullet and Specs podcast with me, Shane O'Connor, and him, Adrian Lacey. I can't believe we did that whole segment about Deliveroo and not one of us mentioned Buckaroo.
Just as well, really.
Never had that as a kid. I felt deprived. We grudgingly, I think it's fair to say, turn our attention finally in the podcast this week to the royal wedding. Because
you say grudgingly, you've just alienated 70% of readership.
Well, have we? This is the thing, because earlier on today, I did a little unscientific straw poll. Let me just refresh that and see what it says. And the question I asked them, I said, would you help me with my unscientific straw poll for some work I'm doing later? The royal wedding, is it either, oh yeah, baby, I can't wait, or please make it stop? Please make it stop was originally listed as, I'd rather gnaw my arm off. But I hadn't got enough room to put the full stop in, and
too violent as well.
Yeah, I thought that as well. So anyway, the results are in. I'll have to say it isn't a huge it isn't a huge.
Your dad has tweeted
Yeah.
out of sympathy, the sympathy vote.
It isn't. It's only 22 votes. However,
Oh, you didn't have to. I'd have thought 22,000, knowing your.
it might be.
profile.
I'm not very good with the zeros. But the jury is in, and the final vote, as it stands now, is 23% are, oh yeah, baby, I can't wait, with a huge 77%, please make it stop. So I think, actually, we've ingratiated ourselves to 70% of the audience rather than the other way around. However, this Saturday, it is the royal wedding. Princess Harry and Prince Meghan.
Prince Henriette, no.
Meghan,
Stop pretending you don't know.
Meghan Markle. Honestly, I have avoided everything I possibly can. It just, I mean, was it ITV said, we'll be doing a week of programme? I thought, on your own, mate, you won't be having me with you, I tell you. But I keep catching the
You
wife.
won't get invited to the ITV party.
I
Sorry.
was going to say, I keep catching the wife watching these dreadful programmes about the royal wedding, but like it or loathe it, it's here. I look at it and I just think it's there we go. That's somebody else I'm paying for because it's our money they're spending at the end of the day. I'm a bit conflicted about the royal family because I wouldn't say I'm exactly a Republican. I wouldn't mind seeing them as like a kind of in a theme park or something like that. Do you know what I mean? but I wouldn't like Royal World. But I wouldn't or Windsor as it's known.
Very good. Legoland, I think they call it.
But yeah, so I wouldn't. I don't think I'd want to get rid of them. But what about you? Are you? I can't see you being a royalist somehow.
Well, the funny thing is, when I first started working with you on Bull and Specs, I had you down as a royalist.
No
it was
way.
Basically, to be honest, it was on the back of one remark you made, which actually was thinking about it was you could argue was mostly based on facts rather than opinion about them. You were saying how they were rising in popularity because they were having babies 10 to the dozen or 19 to the dozen rather.
Oh yeah, I remember saying that. Yeah,
but your instincts are correct. But I'm probably, if at all like you, I'm a quiet Republican. I feel it can feel a bit oppressive, particularly at these times when there's run up to the wedding. And okay, you could make a song and dance about it, but actually, I can't be dealing with the aggro for arguing the case, which is probably a bit tragic.
Do you find yourself a little bit at sea at this time as well? I this is why I did that tweet today, is because because of the noise that social media makes, I find it difficult to judge the reality of old-fashioned public opinion these days, and I don't know whether I'm out. I mean, I'm so glad that I'm not working in local radio right now, because these kind of things that's you've got to. I mean, it's almost like a three-line whip. You've got to be positive about. You've got to say nice things, and it's just so artificial because they are alienating 60-70% of their audience who are going, actually no, I want to hear somebody deal with it in a human way, but I'm going to put up with that rubbish, so that's fine. But I just kind of do you have that feeling where you think, well, I can't gauge anymore what people think?
Well, yeah, but actually, that's not for me. It predates social media. This is going slightly off topic, but it's going with the flow of what you're saying. I was convinced that if you put a good music show on TV, and by good, of course, it tends to be my taste I'm talking about. This was before, for instance, we had Later with Jules Holland, but after Whistle Test had finished. I was convinced there was a massive space for that. And then something like, Chris Evans' TFI Friday came along. But like, I will actually get to the point in a moment when I remember what my point is. You remember the Tube as well. The thing was, I always thought the speech items were stopping both shows. Chris Evans' TV show in those days, Channel 4, and the Tube, were getting in the way of music fans enjoying it as a music show. And then I realised, and this is my point, that I'm surrounded by a crowd of people who like roughly similar music, give or take. I have musical friends. That's how it goes. If you're an angler, you're surrounded by people who go fishing.
You
every
smell
weekend.
a fish, yeah.
Oh, come on. You really have alienated large parts of our audience. It's the number one pastime, fishing. Apparently.
I'd like to see them deny it, but go on.
Well, I'd like to distance myself from Shane's remark just on the basis of needing desperately to have more viewers and listeners. Anyway, so sorry, that was a massive meander, but to make the point that we can only really speak for ourselves and our immediate group, I think.
Yeah.
So yes, I should have just said yes and agreed with you.
But no, I'm quite fascinated by that because you're quite right. Because I see things and I think, oh, that should be a success, and it isn't. And then you realise that you're the only one that likes that particular kind of program or whatever. But
yeah, you don't have to talk about this podcast in such demeaning terms.
I thought it seemed like such a good idea to start with, but then what did I know? It's all completely wrong. But yeah, it is that kind of, are we sort of marching out of step with everybody else, and is the rest of the country? Because I mean, if you listen to the mainstream media, you would be led to believe that the whole country is behind this. We're all stood, in lockstep behind Philip Schofield.
There's a thought.
Waiting, to praise this couple. And I mean, personally, I think it's great because I think if you thought, and look, what's the other one called? Is it Kate? The other
one.
Yeah.
Are we talking about Philip Schofield's opposite number, or
no? Sorry, no.
The other royal.
The other royal is what's it?
It's more than
William. William and Kate and William, isn't it?
Kate and William, yeah.
And now, parts of her family have nearly kind of bulged out embarrassingly onto the scene where they shouldn't have done. Well, if you think that they're like an embarrassment, you wait until you see all the people. Have you seen this? Or like?
Oh gosh, the hangers-on, Meghan's lot, yeah.
So, some of Meghan's lot. Is it her auntie or somebody or a sister-in-law? I don't know who she is. Some woman has got, and she's going to be Good Morning Britain's special correspondent because she's not been invited to the wedding. And I just think it's going to be great. It really is. I mean, there's all the talk about whether her father's going to be there. And the funniest tweet I saw this week was they're all going on about that, but Harry's father isn't going to be there, and they put a picture of James Hewitt up.
Oh, cheeky.
Which I thought was pretty cool. That was the funniest
You'll be off
thing.
to the tower in the morning.
Yeah, but I tweeted again in the week about, have you seen some of the commemorative stuff that they have? Have you seen any of this?
No, you're not going to diss the wonderful porcelain plates and all of that. That's a cheap shot, Shane, and not worthy of you.
Have you seen that? There's a porcelain plate, and it's got a picture of Meghan and Ed Sheeran. And when
did they meet? Glastonbury?
As Harry. I mean, they said it was like Meghan and Harry. But it's and they were all going,
I thought you were implying there was an affair going on. We've got to be very careful there.
They've gone, they got it wrong. They put a picture of it, but it was a joke, and they'd actually done it. This company had done it as a joke. But now, do you remember Pez dispensers? Do you remember like they lift up and you have your Pez sweets? They're those. You can get a Meghan.
They're very
and
big
Harry
in the
one.
States, aren't they?
Yeah.
Can you?
Yeah, the Meghan and Harry Pez dispensers. There's a whole list. I didn't realise a company not far from me here, Marmite. Are you a Marmite fan, or are you not? You're not.
It's a bit of a Marmite taste, isn't it? Really. Yeah. No. Unlike you, I'm going to part company on that one. If you're a Marmite fan, I'm not.
I don't think I've ever had it, to be honest with you. But they're doing Harry. They're doing some jars with Harry on and some jars with Meghan on.
Does that imply
that you love them or hate them?
Oh, like it.
I don't know.
That's quite subversive if you follow it where it goes.
Mm. You can get condoms. A special pack.
There's a joke that I haven't thought of yet, but even if I thought of it, I couldn't do it.
There's a special pack, £10 a packet.
No way.
Limited edition, and they're called Crown Jewels. This is true.
You're much more irreverent than I thought. You were so much nicer on the radio, someone said to me once.
Yeah, well, this is why I don't do it anymore. Politicalcereals.com have released wedding rings. They're a toasted multigrain cereal snack with a picture of William and Harry. From what I can gather, all they've got is like this cartoon picture of them on the William and Harry and Meghan on the front.
Get it right. But do they give you indigestion, as the royals seem to with you?
£40 a box.
No way.
A box of cereal, yeah.
Well, they crafted individually on a lathe up in Crofter's cottage in Scotland or something.
You would expect so, wouldn't you, really? But I won't go through the whole list. But the other one that I really liked is there's commemorative sausages. apparently a company called Heck. Have you heard of these? They're
so they're Bayek. Is that how it works?
Yeah,
In Yorkshire.
Yeah, they're gluten.
Bayek, these sausages are good.
Gluten-free, dairy-free.
Sausage-free.
They're almost sausage-free.
Mind you, most sausages are, aren't they? There's virtually no trace of meat.
Yeah, but the packet.
Said that
Where's it
before?
all gone? But they've had the special sweet ginger to commemorate Harry and American mustard to commemorate Meghan.
It doesn't sound like they like her.
I think they just ran out of ideas, didn't they, really?
It was a good job it wasn't rhubarb, because someone would say, I'm sorry, this is a little tart. But no offence. No offence. Can I be moderately serious for a moment? I think it's very sad, because it has been confirmed today by no less a figure than Meghan herself, bless her, or at least whoever's got her social media account or in charge of PR, that her father won't be coming over. That is sad at a human level, isn't it? The thing has gone out of control. If you imagine your wedding, well, of course you are a major media figure, particularly in the Midlands, but imagine you were a world commodity and suddenly, your dad couldn't show up because he was being hounded by the press.
He's not being hounded by the press.
Well, no, I didn't. No, I was just trying to say that. I'm not saying that, but
he got caught. He got caught accepting £100,000 from for setting up some.
I don't think that's a hanging offence myself. But anyway, whatever's happened, if you stand back and look at it, there's people who ought to be control of. You would think they were more in control of their destiny than you and me, because they got a few bob and they've got influence, and actually they end up in a funny way or a not so funny way about having less control than you or me.
Well, I mean, talk to Diana about that one. I mean, that's what she always used to say, wasn't it? Once you join the firm, that's it.
Yeah, well, they're the masters. Although it was interesting that Meghan's name was put to this press release today about her dad, and apparently that is a break with protocol. So
is it?
She might be quietly blowing some of the dust off a slightly dusty institution. Anyway, have you seen The Clock recently?
I've got to say, that's got to be an influence of Brexit,
else?
hasn't it? That we never used to break with protocol that easily before. I just think it's disgraceful. I don't know what this country's become. I really don't. Sorry, yes, the clock, the time.
Just throwing in Brexit as an afterthought. I never know whether you're serious in these things. Anyway, yes, the time. It behoves us, whatever behoving is, I'm going to behove myself tonight, to encourage you, please, if you don't already subscribe to Bull and Specs, please to do so. I really should get my head around the audio version, but I'm going to be a coward and once again refer to YouTube, because that's much easier. And his nibs will tell you about the audio options. But just search Bull & Specs. That's SPECS, of course. I think I've spelled that correctly. These things, spectacles. Yes, you can do so at YouTube. And you've got your own channel, Shane.tv International. Well, no, I'm floundering wildly. But anyway,
Shane.tv International, yeah, or something like that.
Well, whatever
anyway.
you are, yeah.
Oriel, because we've got to go to the Royal Wedding in a minute. I've got to get ready.
Yeah, you better.
Yeah, Spreaker, Stitcher, iHeartRadio, iTunes, to get all the audio versions. Or if you follow either of us on Twitter, we tweet it out as well. Adrian Lacey 01, aren't you?
I am indeed. Yes, for Twitter.
And Shane on
It's
air.
a Shane. Try and spit it out, man. Shane on air is what I'm trying to say.
No, not Shane on hair. Shane on air.
You're on something. I'm not sure what. And I don't know if I mentioned I've also got my own podcast, LondonPodcast.net.
It's well
Did
worth.
I say that?
Well worth a peep. Well worth a listen. It certainly is. And we must get round to doing our Bull and Specs Twitter feed one of the days. Mustn't we do that as well? Get all that.
We
sorted.
should.
Anyway, till next time. Thank you very much for your company. Hope you've enjoyed two buffoons wittering on. As we
speak for yourself. Where's the other one?
As we tend to witter. The next time we meet, won't be on this podcast because Adrian and I don't like to talk about it, but we'll be in Westminster train station. Is it? No, what is
There isn't one. I thought you were going to say we got the Abbey habit.
Ah, yeah, that's
really old.
You have to be old to remember that one, don't you? But yeah, we'll be behind Philip Schofield in the royal wedding celebrations, so we'll see you there.